Hello and welcome to Underpowered. We're a podcast about gaming when we have time or find the energy to. We're still be gaming even if we're busy. I'm Casey Cole. Joining me tonight is my buddy and resident Pokemon expert Eric Scott, original founding member and sometimes on the show guy Sean Poole, and our guest tonight is JRPG content creator and host of the YouTube channel The Gaming Shelf, Taylor Hoyt. Taylor, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah. We almost didn't have the show because you're a Niners fan. We had a little hot intro, but we lit the waters. They were rough at first, but we came to a a great rivalry. It's probably my favorite rivalry in football.
I mean, if you were a Cowboys fan, I would have canceled myself. So at least you're not a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, right. No, that's fair. I agree. No, I like good football teams these days. I don't live in the 90s. No, we'll see. It's going to be an interesting year for the Cowboys.
Easy to say now that Russ has jumped ship, huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's the Broncos too. Yeah, I'm like a mad ex-girlfriend about that one. I was like, good. I'm glad he's failing. So it's July. We haven't done a show since in mid-June because of vacation time and people getting together. And it's tradition here. It's JRPG July. And that's why we have Taylor. That's why we're on the show. So Taylor, I've been following your channel for a while, and I went back and I did a lot of looking at your original videos. You weren't initially just a JRPG creator, right? That's not what you focused on. You kind of did other things too, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if this is reflected in the videos, but I don't know if you guys remember this site called Blistered Thumbs. It was originally part of the Nostalgia Critics website. They had like a gaming offshoot that like Angry Joe was like the editor-in-chief of. So I mainly was like the PSP editor there. And then randomly I would just do videos on my own for fun that were never on the site. But we would always go to like the big conventions and I would post like, oh, I went to GDC or E3 or whatever. But to answer your question, it wasn't always about JRPGs, but over time, I just found myself playing those more and more and just decided to focus on that.
Yeah, I saw the old videos of you on at E3. And that's so cool because that was at a time when it was just still for the press, right? It wasn't for the people.
Yeah,
when it was good and cool.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, no, it was interesting. We were very fortunate to go to the PlayStation conference for two years in a row, which was cool. But yeah, no, it was definitely a different experience. And now E3's dead, so R.I.P.
I know. Where did the shift happen for you to focus on JRPG? Like, what made you? Because you did a little bit of a lot of different games, so it's a lot of variety. What made you go to one niche.
That's a great question. So for a while, I kind of just stopped playing games for a while. Like I was. If you can believe it, I was like the guy that got Madden every year and then just played World of Warcraft. Like that's all I did. I was that
guy.
Yeah.
I was that guy for a little bit.
Okay, well there you go. We're in good company.
Okay, wait. What class were you in WoW? Can I guess?
Oh, sure.
Okay, were you Horde? You were Horde.
No.
Alliance. Oh, Alliance guy. Then you were Paladin. Yeah, I got the Paladin as soon as you said he was Alliance. Oh man, yeah. I can see that. Power gamer.
Oh yeah.
Good at everything. I like it.
But the problem was, I was playing WoW, and then I moved to South Korea for a year to teach English, and they banned my account because I was in America one day, and then I was in South Korea the next, and they saw and so I'm like, well, I guess no more WoW for me. And so around that same time, this was like 2010, that's when Final Fantasy 13 came out, and it was getting so many negative reviews, and I was like, Final Fantasy getting negative reviews, what's this? And so I kind of like got plugged back into like whatever, like following games more closely, and I heard that 13 was getting just trashed, and I had my PSP with me, and I'm like, well, let me dig into like these old RPGs I never played, like Grandia and Lunar and stuff like that. And so I kind of got back into that. And I don't know if you saw this, but one of the earliest videos on the channel is like this ridiculous unboxing video, because that when I was in Korea, you don't have bills there. They pay for your apartment and stuff. And so I was just buying all these old RPGs, and I just decided to keep playing them. And then eventually that's just sort of what I fell into in terms of, enjoying playing. And so that's it was kind of a weird coincidence or a weird set of circumstances, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's some JRPG.
Having all your bills paid for.
Yeah, that is actually cool. Let's go teach us that secret.
Well, I mean, just go teach in a foreign country because I mean, now granted, your entire apartment is probably no bigger than this room I'm in right now. It's tiny, but you don't need a car because you can walk to school. And then, I mean, I had to pay for food and stuff. I didn't have no bills, but it was nothing compared to like America or Canada or wherever you're. So it was very nice.
Go teach in Japan, Casey. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm sure my wife and children would love that. Guys will be back in a year.
Bring them along.
Yeah, I mean that'd be an adventure. I would love to do something that wild, but no, I'm looking at you. I see the unboxing the last story, which was a cool Wii JRPG. You have some cool. It's just the games I've seen on your channel are some deep cuts too. It's not just like mainline big RPGs. You were always a Madden Warcraft guy. What was your first JRPG?
The basic answer, Final Fantasy VII. I mean, before that, it was like, I would play like Crash Bandicoot or Tony Hawk or whatever, and then my friend introduced me to Final Fantasy VII. I would laugh at him like, these guys with these cube hands, I don't get it. Like, I never played a game for a story before, and so he let me borrow it because he was on like disc 2 or 3, and so he let me borrow disc 1. I was like, oh, I kind of like this. This is interesting, and then I just never looked back. Like, went way down the rabbit hole with all the different Final Fantasies, all the different RPGs that it was kind of a.
Were you like Jesus moment. middle school type age at that time, or was that?
Yeah, how old was I? I think I was 12 when Final Fantasy VII came out. So
we're at the same age. Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah. I got an F in math in 6th grade for a little bit because of Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
And that got taken away, so I got that grade up. And now I teach math for a living, and the irony is never
full circle moment, right?
Full circle, yes. No, you played a lot of games. I love that you do rankings and you talk about even like possible releases or what's coming out. I've seen like how your channel changed too. You have like those really clear. It's great JRPG coverage. Are you excited for any upcoming JRPGs, or what are you playing these days right now?
Games I'm excited for. The ones that are most imminent, probably. Technically, this is a Korean RPG. I come to find out, but Eternites. I'm really excited for. They put a demo out during the Steam Next Fest, and I got a chance. They gave me an early build to play, and it's a really cool game. It's like Persona, but with like action combat. And
ARPG, okay.
Yeah,
no,
it's
like
really
ARPG. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yes.
JARPG.
No, JARPG. There we go. We can give it that. Or no, this is K because you said Korean.
K. Yeah, that's right. But the big one that is still like seems like it's never going to release is Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. I mean, we've been waiting on that game for like the better part of a decade. So it
went last. So they announced it in 2018, right?
I think 2017.
Okay.
I think.
I know the fighting game looks
this
really
year,
cool.
Supposedly.
Yeah. When their release date is just 2023, still halfway through the year, you're like, is it gonna make it?
Well, I'm kind of on that boat with the Ludian Chronicles. Because that game's supposed to come out this year. They had the Rising, which was like a one-off thing they made that people really liked. I got in on that with one of our mods in Discord, Dr. Zubat. And I'm just waiting. I'm like, have you heard anything about like when the Switch on drop? Is like nothing yet. So it's hard too because this year I think in particular there's been lots of just really good JRPGs that came out and keeping up. There was Fire Emblem Engage, which I haven't finished. I'm still working on that. Octopath Traveler 2. I don't want to finish that. I love it so much. I don't want it to end. I'm kind of
last time I was over at your house, I think to go see Super Mario Brothers the movie. You were like playing Octopath Traveler before we left, and you were all excited to show me your characters and stuff. And I know that's one of your favorites.
I've been doing a walkthrough on our channel, and I'm never doing that again. I've decided
you say that every time.
I didn't know it's not worth it. Like I'd rather do a review. It kind of. Have you ever done a walkthrough, Taylor? Or thought about doing that? Like, what made you choose the style of videos you do, I guess, too, with that?
That's a good question. I did, if you, like, as we were scrolling through the channel, that was wild to kind of just, like, look back on, like, how the channel's evolved. I actually did Let's Plays for a little while. But to me, I mean, the honest answer was just other videos were getting more views, and so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do that. And frankly, I'm not a very good like commentator on Let's Plays. Like, doing a good Let's Play is so much harder than people realize. You have to constantly be saying funny things or pointing out interesting things, and I'd just be like, so yeah, now we're going to Midgard. Like, I just it was so boring. I just couldn't do it.
Sean used to do it, and I don't know how he did it. And like, people would pay all sorts of wild things. I like doing community games on the stream because then you're bouncing off each other.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Let's Plays are very similar to like streaming because it's like stream of consciousness almost. It's like you have to get really used to it in that mindset of describing everything and pointing everything out and saying every dumb thing that comes to mind, because like normally you'd maybe keep it inside, but you have to say it out loud because then people can either like agree or disagree or, you know, put like jump on or laugh at it or whatever. So I feel that.
I Eric, you've done you mainly stick to the Pokemon. You've been doing some Unite. You wouldn't do a walkthrough, would you?
Oh, never.
He's trying to you right
now.
You
don't want to do a walkthrough there. You don't want.
No, I think there'd be two things if we did a walkthrough with Eric. It would be at a blistering pace that no one could keep up with. I remember when Final Fantasy Tactics came out on PSP and we both started together. I'm like, I'm on chapter 3 now, and you're like, I'm on chapter 10, and then I'm like, it's been 2 hours, and I'm like,
it would be like riding along with me in a car, but it would either be like a 4-wheel drive, like a Jeep Wrangler off road, just over bumps, just going crazy. Or yeah, you're right. It'd be some kind of a drag car.
It'd be Formula One. We'd be gone. Turned. Yeah, you would teach people how to meta really hard. Well, I feel like you go hard in some games. You have the oldest game on the backlog this year for JRPG.
I do have the oldest game on the backlog, and that's Breath of Fire 3. And I'm ashamed that it's the oldest game on my backlog. I'm going to finish it. I'm finishing it this
How far are you into Breath of Fire 3?
I would definitely say I'm about 3/4 of the way through the game. I kind of got to the point where I knew I was making my way towards the end, kind of walking, getting towards that last path of the story. And I just kind of wanted to go back and do all the Fairy Village stuff. And I had never had a really quality playthrough of the game. And I kind of wanted to do that and just comb through everything and take my time. And that's what I've done through this playthrough. I had recently discovered my old PS2 and a lot of old discs, what was the Star Ocean?
I found
nice.
The copy that Casey let me borrow back when we were in middle school.
We had a whole conversation about that because we did Taekwondo together, and it was some random kid in Taekwondo that recommended to us, and we were like, "Hey, that's a solid pickup. Respect." Yeah. He got good credit from us for that.
Yeah, well, he kind of helped me sort of expand my perspective outside of the PS1 genre, the PS1 Final Fantasy genre of PlayStation games, which I always thought those were just my favorite. Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy VII, still up there for me.
I have a hot take, and I don't necessarily like doing hot takes all the time, but I think this is like the first example of 2.5 HD. I think these games kind of did what Octopath and Live. Yeah, these look at how they kind of do the art where they pop out, and then it's the background.
I was just saying out loud for our listening audience.
Oh, Breath of Fire, you're right. True. That's right. For people that just listen to the audio. Yeah.
That or Xenogears, even Xenogears kind of did the same thing, or Tales of Destiny kind of does the same thing.
Yeah.
I love Xenogears.
Xenogears is an amazing game, and there's some rumors about some remakes of that. It's remake season. There's supposedly we're going to see one about Final Fantasy 9, which is my favorite Final Fantasy. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to I've heard Chrono Trigger. I've heard all sorts of things. The Super Mario RPG remake is probably the thing I'm most excited about right now, and I will replay for the 100th time. How often do you replay your RPGs or your games? That's to the class, to the whole group. Taylor, you can start.
Yeah, it depends. It depends, if the mood strikes me. Like before, for example, before Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, I replayed that just to kind of get refamiliarized with it. Yeah, I guess it just depends of the mood I'm in or the release schedule, because with the way gaming is now, I try to cover all the major JRPG releases. Like right now is a perfect time to replay games because nothing's coming out for a couple months. But I would say maybe like 1 or 2 a year. The problem with them is they're long, right? So like you have to really commit. Like, okay, here's 25 to 50 hours of playing 90. A game I've already beat. Right.
Well, with a game like Final Fantasy VII, if I'm going to do a fresh playthrough, which I've done plenty of those, I might get the urge to do it after this, but I've got to do everything. I've got to do all the side stuff. I've got to get the gold chocobo. I've got to
get Knights of the Round, right?
I've got to do everything I possibly can. It's everything. The down submarine, I got to do it all.
See, that's what I love about JRPG. Personally, like and the thing I like about JRPG UI, that was me. The summer was like the tradition. School's out. I'm going to get a JRPG and I'm going to play it all summer, right? And I'm going to dive deep into it. My parents are letting me get a game for getting good grades. Let's go. I felt that way with Lunar. That was when that blew my mind because I was getting into anime at the time. My backlog's kind of weird because games I half started, I named a bunch of the ones this year. And then one that I keep looking at is Persona 5. And I keep hearing that's like the greatest. It's got one of the best ratings possible. Have you played Persona 5, Taylor?
Oh, I've not. I have a funny relationship with Persona 5. So I played it when it came out. And then I reviewed. So earlier this year, they re-released it, or they released the Royal version for PC, Xbox, and Switch. And so I played the Switch version for review. But that game has like an extra semester, but it doesn't tell you how to access it. And I missed it completely in my playthrough. And it's like, I don't know, 5 to 10 hours of content. And I just totally missed it, and I was pissed and so like I beat it, and then I immediately like I'm gonna put it on easy and just blast through it and go back to it. And I got about 10 hours in, and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do it.
No. I'm reading the how long to beat right now, and Persona 5 is 97.5 hours for the main hour.
Just a light work. You know?
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I think Live Alive is like the quickest JRPG I can always recommend someone, because I think it's a 25 to 30. Some people think 25 is crazy long too, but so is it not really on your backlog, just not one that you could get into?
Persona 5?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I've beat it twice, just to get to that extra semester, I'm like, do I want to play it a third time? And I might have to wait a while, because I mean, like they were saying, it's a long game. Even skipping the cutscenes, you still have to go through the dungeons and do the social link stuff. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but it's part of the experience. So, we'll see.
What's on your backlog?
You know, I gotta be honest. I don't really play that game. I don't do the backlog.
You don't have one that like I'm meaning to get to this. You just play what you're feeling.
You know, it's funny. I was cleaning my room the other day, and I pulled up this old list I had. It was like my backlog of shame. I'm like, I feel like I should beat these games as someone that covers JRPGs. I guess if I had the one that would be on there is Final Fantasy VI, because I got the Pixel Remaster collection, and I got up to 6, and then they just burnt me out because they were those old games, like they're good, and I appreciate the legacy and everything.
I love 4.
So hard. They don't tell you what to do. It's so hard to navigate.
No.
I have to play through it with a guide, or else I'm just totally lost.
Dude, Secret of Mana was like that. There's this random. I played that during COVID on my SNES Mini, and I was like, "What do I do?" I had to watch a video. You have to go talk to some random old lady that was like 20 towns ago that there's no reference to. Yeah. And so, if I was I always talk about it, like a kid in the 90s without the internet, I'm like, "This, nope, I'm done. Like, never again." You know,
that's what I was thinking. It's like, and most of these all came out before there was YouTube, before GameFAQs, maybe.
GameFAQs was the first online. Yes.
I remember using that as a kid and trying to like decipher it, like not ASCII, but like basically just like a wall of text of like go here to here, like guides. And you think about when they designed it, how did they expect people to play them? Just explore every inch and try and figure out what goes with what.
It was a different time, man. People had more time to just poke around in random caves and bushes and stuff, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's honestly, I've got the same story with Final Fantasy VI. I found the anthology, the disc, and I gave it an honest shot, and I got to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I'm in the right area. I don't know if I'm in the right spot. I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of feel like I'm standing on a nude beach around with strangers all around me. I'm just not feeling this. I'm out.
That's also like the same feeling you get when you like return to a game that you haven't played in a while, and you're like, where the hell was I in the story? Or like
grown-up mode.
Yes.
It needs to be in all games, the grown-up mode, where it's just, hey, you've been busy the last 3 months. Yeah, like here, a journal. Pokemon started doing that in Diamond and Pearl era, where you like, hey, last time you played, you did these 3 things. You would read it, and you're like, oh yeah. Or a cutscene, or like, hey, let me get one tutorial fight to remember how to hit the buttons right, and be like, okay.
Or even like Ni no Kuni, they have like the little gold star. It's a little bit insulting, like as you're playing it, but like if you haven't come back for a while, then it's like, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go. Okay.
Yeah. Those little Ni no Kuni looks rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard thing too, because the backlog thing is hard because it's like, oh, I've always wanted to try this, but then something either shiny or new will come on. I've accepted like. It's very rare when an old game like Chrono Trigger, probably I could recommend that in confidence if I had to say an old game that's still really good. And I think 6 is there too. I would have told you to skip Final Fantasy 1 through 3 and just go through 6 at that point.
Those were painful, man. Those were painful.
Mm-hmm. The guys at Mega 64, I sent this to Eric as a video with the creator Ken. Oh, what can't I think of his name right now? They did a video with him, actual like, because he made Rad Racer for the NES, and like the joke was they made a video of him like, this is the last game of my contract, and I can go be a ghetto boy rapper. Like he was into New York rap.
Yeah, Sakaguchi.
Yes. And it's just like him going nuts, and they're like, "Hey, great game. We're hiring you again," and he can't get out of his contract, and it's just he's stuck making Final Fantasy games. It's pretty funny. Because Final Fantasy 6 does some weird thing. Final Fantasy the 16. Have you played any 16 yet?
Oh, yeah, you missed my review. So I
know. I'm setting you up.
Okay. Yeah, so I beat it. I cleared the hunt board. I made the best weapon. Like I feel like I did everything I could to like fully experience that game, and I wasn't a huge fan. Like it's fun. Like I love the action combat. The action combat's so good. All the shut up Siri. All the icon fights are really good. The lack of RPG elements is really a bummer. Like they might as well have not had it in there because it almost doesn't matter. And then this is just a super personal thing with where I'm at in life right now. Like I just wasn't in the mood for an ultra dark story like that.
Yeah,
like that game is like relentlessly grim. Like to
it's
a
very Game
exhausting
of Thrones,
degree,
right?
Yeah, totally.
I know Jeff Grubb got raked over the coals for like saying like it seems like it's this, and we're like, no, it's not, but it clearly is. What do you think? With all the discussion about is it a JRPG? It's a JRPG still, right? Because it's still.
I mean, technically, sure. Why not? It's an RPG made in Japan. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's a loose because it's more like a Kingdom Hearts to me. I feel like when I watch people play it, or a Devil May Cry.
Yeah, well, they have the combat director from Devil May Cry 5, so that makes a lot of sense. And in fact, I also heard, it's funny that you mentioned Kingdom Hearts. Apparently, a lot of people from the Kingdom Hearts team also worked on this.
You could tell. You could tell. I just immediately by the movement, I was like, oh, it's kind of like Sora or this or that. I could see it. And no, I think moods is important to a game too. Like I like a really campy JRPG. Like give me the anime tropes. Give me the happiness. Lunar for that, just for the anime cutscenes. Wow, chef's kiss. Love it.
That is like the quintessential JRPG. It's like, oh, we're gonna go on an adventure to a cave, and like, and then we go on a globetrotting adventure, and then all the cliches. But it's like that was the game that started the cliches. So like, I love that game for that.
Yeah. No, that was one I let Eric borrow, and I think didn't your mom hate the sound of it because of all their like voices? Remember Lunar, where
I couldn't get into Lunar.
No, I didn't.
I didn't like Lunar as much as you did.
No,
it was.
I think is it because you were fighting your secret love for anime that you now have taken in? Do you think?
Possibly. I might appreciate it now.
Yeah.
Actually, let me ask this question. We're kind of talking about an era of games. What's a game from that era that you would love to grab and say, let's do a full remake. Let's do a good just a good quality remake on this game.
Really good question.
From like the PS1 era.
the PS1 era. I've been begging
that like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say I think the game that needs it the most and is probably Legend of Dragoon, because they put that on PS5, PS4 like not too long ago, and it was kind of busted, but then they fixed it. But like, man, the localization on that is really rough, and that timed button press combat system is like not fun. But I love that world. I love the music. I love that whole idea of like transforming into the Dragoons. Like, I guess we're all the same age, so I grew up like with the Power Rangers, like transforming into the Power Rangers and stuff. Yeah. So like, I love stuff like that. I think it's fun. So like, a total ground up remake of Legend of Dragoon I think would be cool. And then same with Chrono Cross, again, just for that world, like all that ocean world, like sailing to the islands and that music. Right. Like, that's, to me, that's the best video game soundtrack ever.
Oh, Chrono Cross is great. That's the big thing, because they did it's like an HD update, right? The one that came
like
out
a remaster,
this year. Yeah, a light remaster, and not like a full-on redone, but like a just like polishing the edges. And people are like, yeah, it's a game, because the battling is not great in that, but everybody walks like, soundtrack's great though. That's I've made like yeah, right? I'll play that in my classroom from time to time. What about you, Eric?
I mean, I've been begging for a Tactics 2 for such a long time, but
Tactics is the go.
I'm gonna say it, Pokemon Emerald. Give it the full updated. Give it the all, like the full treatment. Give it everything.
Just make it a Pokemon Legends game.
Just make it Pokemon Legends Rayquaza. Just let's do that.
But I don't know.
Is Pokemon the greatest JRPG franchise?
I think Pokemon is baby's
nobody beats
RPG.
Pokemon sales wise.
Yeah, exactly.
I think everybody can relate to Pokemon. I think it's up there for sure. Sean, I think there's an RPG that you played on Super Nintendo that I would think would need it.
I was thinking of Pokemon. I was gonna say Leaf Green or Fire Red, just because I'm more biased to the original ones. But when Eric said that, Secret of Evermore was probably if you count that, that counts as a JRPG, right? Like,
absolutely,
sure, yeah.
But
my son,
I figured the secret games count.
My son is playing Trials of Mana. We got that on the Switch, and that's really user friendly with the update and like there's stars. He doesn't get lost. Like the Secret Mana update, the remake is okay from what I've heard, but he's really enjoying that, and I like that it's accessible to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really happy about the Super Mario RPG remake. That kind of like made my year seeing that at the Nintendo Direct. Xenogears would be another one, or something. Here's the thing: I don't necessarily want a remake. Give me a true sequel. Like, I was really happy to see Octopath 2. Give me something in Tactics that happens after Tactics. Give me that same world.
Oh my God. That is
don't give me the whole thing. Give me a new thing.
I cannot believe they haven't done more Tactics games. Like, they remastered Tactics Ogre, which was fine. I feel like they messed up that remaster. I cannot believe they still haven't remastered Final Fantasy Tactics for consoles. That's insane to me.
And Triangle Strategy, I thought Triangle Strategy did a lot of things combat-wise that really improved on the tactics system, I thought, but there's just nothing still has come close to that customization, to that replayability. It's, I mean, those first 5 characters in Tactics that you kind of, maybe first 4, I'll say, they kind of carry you for a little while. They're important, and depending on what route you go with each of those characters, you can play the game so many different ways when you start, and it makes the game so fun.
I have 130 hours in Triangle Strategy, and then someone's like, no, there's free DLC that adds to the story, and I was like, dang it. Like, today I was looking, I was like, don't do it. You're looking for something to play. It's free DLC. You can go back in. I've seen everything, right? The thing that I like to, because Eric and I and Sean, we all play D&D together too. And Triangle Strategy does something where you like, oh, your outcome, there is a path to the story. Tactic Ogre did it. I think they did not Tactic Ogre, but I think this did a better job of that, because it took whatever Tactic Ogre laid as the groundwork and made it more impactful. But yeah, I want interactive environments with Tactics. I want the job classes from Tactics. Like, it's there. I really hope they. I don't know. I just really like what team minus Bravely Default 2. I thought Bravely Default 2 was pretty disappointing. But Square's
Persona 5 Tactica coming
that
out.
looks
I like
interesting too.
Tactica
yeah, that looks cool.
Because it looks like the Rabbids game. It's a Rabbids Tactics game. My kids were playing that today too. My daughter, she's 5. She wants to start playing video games. So I was like, well, here, you can play this. Played the Rabbids Mario by herself today, and she beat a level. She's like, oh.
Wow.
I know.
It was kind of hard.
She knows letters, so she's like, oh, hit A. She can see the button and like move. And it's just the first level. And I was like, did you just beat that level? And she's like, yeah, no big deal. Like she was totally playing it off. I was like, I took a picture of it. I was like, proud moment for Dad.
That's awesome.
The first time she beats a boss without having to look down at her hands to see the buttons.
Yeah, she was just doing it. She was, Eric, I think I'm with Sean. I would like actually see a Secret of Evermore too. I think that's a good game about a boy and his dog. But I'm also the tactics would be number 1.
Yeah. I was just always like Secret of Evermore was like one of the very formative video games from my childhood, and having to like play with my best friend, and like we didn't really. I think we had a Nintendo Power or something that kind of guided us, but other than that, it was like, where the hell did we go? Half the time, like that kind of stuff as kids trying to figure it out. And I just always liked how they broke it up into like different like timelines, or like different times. You start in like prehistoric, and then you go to I think Egyptian, and all through kind of like time. I always thought that was really cool as a kid who likes history.
Yeah, I thought that was rad.
Here's some.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you got it.
I was going to say, do you guys remember Brave Fencer Musashi?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They could do a lot with that game.
Vagrant Story too. I also think of that because that's in Evolus,
Vagrant
right?
Story, yeah.
They have a whole thing. I also kind of look at Final Fantasy 14 some days and think about my WoW days. I'm like, maybe I just quit playing games altogether and just
you try. Every I feel like once a year at least you try and get us all to go play.
I wore everyone down with Pokemon Unite finally in the Discord, and we played Pokemon Unite and streamed it a couple weeks ago, and we all had a good time. Everybody's playing Pokemon Unite now. It's like, oh, this is good because they're all old like League of Legends degenerates, and they're like, oh, this is nice. I don't feel mad or racist at the end of playing this, and it's good. But I feel like I don't know. I'm curious with term because Final Fantasy is a MMORPG, but it's a JRPG too, right? And I saw the argument for this too. That was God of War is more of a JRPG than Final Fantasy 16, and I was like, whoa. And I could see the I was like, this is a good argument. I was like, I just gotta give me the popcorn. I want to see internet fight over that.
I mean, the gear-wise, it totally is because it has different stats and different ways that it impacts how you play. So from that perspective, totally.
Yeah.
Which is weird. You know what? I heard a really weird argument. I heard an argument that Madden is a turn-based JRPG because you're essentially planning out your strategy. Your characters level up as the season goes on, and you're picking your attack, and then you take a turn. And like that's really stretching it, but it was an interesting thought exercise.
No, yes.
You take away the graphics and the story.
Yeah.
That's a pretty wide umbrella that JRPG casts.
I'm here for it.
I would love to see Madden made by a Japanese developer or something.
Dude,
though.
I have
wasn't Tecmo Bowl?
Tecmo Bowl is Nintendo. No, Tecmo is an American company, I think.
Tecmo, Koei Tecmo.
Right? Oh, Koei, you're right. Koei, it's Dynasty Warrior. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a Muso. Guys, football's a Muso game.
Just smack around everybody. There you go.
Yeah. No, I've been saying it for years. Someone just needs to take the Blitz engine and then reskin it with whatever teams and put that on eShop or whatever shop for $5 and have online play. And you'd be booga rich.
Oh, Blitz, great party game.
Yes. Well, I had some students ask me today about, Mr. Cole, do you play Mario Party? I go, Mario Party is the only game I've ever seen a fist fight over. No, I do not play Mario Party.
You can't I
played Mario Party. I played the original Mario Party with you, Casey.
Yes, we played it. We were fine, but the neighbors down the street were not as fine when the boys got into it. And I was like, I'm going to go home.
That's giving me flashbacks to when we played Zelda Four Swords. Or
oh my God,
at your house, Casey.
That's
we had that one party member who was really greedy. Would throw everyone else. We'd all be doing whatever, and then that person would just be stealing all of our gold.
And he'd win every game. Every game he'd be first. And we're like. And we'd always vote him to be last too, but he just have so many coins. That was I like more collaborative play. Like I think Monster Hunter is kind of the turn, like because that's a JRPG too. I think if anything, Final Fantasy 16 JRPGs just aren't turn based. It's a style of role playing game that has certain themes, and this seems like a dark. 16 seems like a dark JRPG, like you were saying.
Yeah, I think JRPG is like, you know, an encompassing term, and then there's subgenres under that. You know, you got your turn-based classic kind of ones. You got more like, I guess, modern kind of like Devil May Cry and like the new Final Fantasy and stuff like that. There's a bunch of subgenres under there.
Yeah.
It's like
like even like strategy, like we're talking about Final Fantasy Tactics. Like I would consider that a JRPG in some sense. Like Valkyria Chronicles. We were talking about Fire Emblem. Like I think that falls under that very wide umbrella. I mean, they're very obviously like anime inspired, which I think is not necessary, but usually it kind of
anime inspires everything. Taylor, I am fully with you there. These guys will be like, oh, like in Marvel, if I make something in D&D, I go, no, like every anime ever. Like I always go back every trope I take from.
Well, this isn't going to be a fun game. So is Animal Crossing a JRPG?
Yeah.
You don't.
Or now it's a cozy game, right? It's
a
cozy game. That's a new genre itself.
Yeah.
What, the cozy game? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's a cozy game. Is what it's saying.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know what's so funny? I remember growing up and getting Harvest Moon Back to Nature on the PS1 because I'd never seen a game like that. I saw it in a magazine. I was like, this is interesting, and I remember getting it. And none of my friends had it, and I showed it to them. It was really wild, and there was no games like that. It was Harvest Moon, and that was it. And now it's really wild to see. It was Stardew Valley, I think, that really lit the spark for all these other companies or all these other developers to make their own one of those. But it's wild to see how big that genre is now.
Animal Crossing is listed as a social simulation video game.
Social simulation video game.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
right.
So video game genres are so stupid. Like walking simulator, like that is the dumbest name for a genre.
Myth.
Yeah, walking simulator. That is what.
But you could just as easily call
Goat Simulator, Power Wash Simulator, Simulator. It's weird. It is actually Animal Crossing, the real metaverse. Is that what? Because of COVID, everyone's actually just stuck in their Animal Crossing game.
Oh yeah.
Know it.
Dude, did you guys see that Gary Whitta, who was like a Hollywood screenwriter?
Yeah, he had the talk show.
Yeah, and he had like real big like Hollywood celebrities, like A-list celebrities, like Brie Larson and
Selena Gomez. It
was crazy. Elijah Wood. Yeah.
I don't know if they were actually playing. That was the thing. I'm like, I don't think they're actually playing. I think it's him just doing VO and having people play and dressing them up. I was always curious about that. I was like,
why is that not the game that you're introducing your daughter to video games?
She has Animal Crossing. She just finds it like it helps her with the controls. She's not really into it. She wants action. She loves Turtles in Time. She loves like she wants to be Princess Peach. She I was like, well, try Mario Odyssey. She's like, that's not Princess. Like she was upset.
You were telling me she was playing Call of Duty too, wasn't she?
Yeah, dude, she's just totally fragging and talking, really saying horrible things online.
I'm sure your wife would love that.
She's been doing Fortnite dances. No, she plays like PBS kid games. Like she's very basic at what she likes. But Pokemon, she's shown some interest in too. I think I want to do Let's Go Pikachu with her. That will probably be her first RPG. Yeah, okay. She likes Pokemon, and it's 2 players, so I can carry her through it. You know,
or she carry you.
It's true. It's true.
Is that the best? Like for kids? Like if you were gonna
Pokemon?
That's a reasonable question. Like you're gonna introduce JRPG to a kid. Pokemon best.
Pokemon is baby's first JRPG. Yeah.
I would say, what do you think the youngest age you could introduce a kid to like regular Pokemon?
Regular Pokemon, and say good luck and let them figure it out. Like playing Scarlet Violet, I would say maybe first or second. They got to be able to read. Like for it to be enjoyable, you have to be able to read. And so if your kid can read well enough in kindergarten, or you're going to read it to them and play it together, sure. But I think if you're going to play a game like that, like RPGs, that's the other thing too. I remember when I showed it to my friends, like, oh, what's all this reading? Ugh. Like maybe that was like the thing. Skip. Yeah. They're like, is it because you're an only child? Is this why you like these? Because you can just sit and like, yes, this is absolutely why. I'm entertained for hours now. I don't know. what's your go-to recommendation for RPG, Taylor? Like, if for people that have never played, what's your hey, play this game?
Honestly, it's usually Pokemon, just because it gets you used to the mechanics. They're usually pretty easy, right? And then it gets you used to the mechanics of like traveling around, getting like turn-based combat. I did a video. I'm trying to remember when this came out, but I did a video with another creator, Miss Bubbles, and it was something. It was like that, like.
Oh yeah, I like her. She's funny. She's great.
Oh, she's the best. Stuff. Yeah, she's great. And yeah, like that. Pokemon was one of them. We were talking about Trials of Mana earlier. Trials of Mana, I think, is a really good introduction. JRPG because it's pretty easy. It guides you. It's hard to get lost. It's fun.
What I noticed about it, my son kept wiping on a boss, and what it did was it would restart him to the point that he got its HP to, because he was playing on easy.
Oh.
So if it was down to like 2/3, it would start at 2/3. He didn't have to start the whole fight over, and he got to learn, and he didn't have to go through the cutscene, and it kept him interested. Like, he's like, I really like this game.
I feel like just having a difficulty slider basically is pretty rare.
Yeah. No, you have to play the game on hard. Yeah, okay,
so.
It's only real gamers, dude.
I make my son play ones don't even have difficulty options, right? Like the old PS1 Final Fantasies, like it is what it is.
Yeah. I would like a difficulty option on Pokemon. Give me a Nuzlocke like setting. Let's do it.
Ooh, yeah, hardcore.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
I watched a really interesting podcast. It was these two people.
Not underpowered. You watched that before. Also,
that's right. No, it was these two. It was this gal and this guy, and they used to be like the Nintendo PR people.
Oh, Kit and Casey. Or yeah.
And they were talking about like wanting to do a Nuzlocke Let's Play, and like Japan just doesn't get it. They think you're like hacking the system. No. Yeah, and it's like, because like you would think that would be a no-brainer to like build that into the game just by now, because people do it anyway. So, but they just think you're cheating or hacking or like putting a mod on the game. So it's hilarious that they're just so out of touch with what the community's doing.
That just makes
it's Nintendo. Like, I'm like, when they said no, I was like, not surprised.
That just makes me want to have more devs than just Game Freak make Pokemon games.
Yeah,
would be amazing. Just to get other types of things that they would never try.
Yes, Eric and I were talking about it today. I don't want them to do a 4-year cycle. I want them to wait 6 or like 7 or 8 years. Like, let's polish this thing out. The gameplay loop on Scarlet Violet is super satisfying, right? But let's make this thing really polished. Because the other thing is, like, Tears of the Kingdom, everyone's like, it talks about the console or this or that. Tears of the Kingdom is a beautiful game with its aesthetic. And here's the thing about Tears of the Kingdom. Is that a JRPG? 1. And 2, how big do you think that digital file is when you save it?
Like when you render out the
like a game, when you look at your memory of the game, when you're looking at it in your Switch, how much file data is it taking up?
It's tiny. I think it's like
30
like 15 gigs or something. It's like
it's not that big. 16 gigs. It's 16, okay. Which floors me. Like Call of Duty's 100, and then this huge game. I'm like, oh man,
I can't believe that. It's insane. No,
my understanding is the Blood Moons, they dump all the data, so that's why they can keep it. So like it really dumps. Like that's why you only have the 6 save files, and it's not keeping everything.
Interesting.
I don't know, man. They're wizards over there. And speaking of wizards, I wanted to talk about a story. I'd like to see more JRPGs from Microsoft. Octopath Traveler's on there on Game Pass, but we saw it today. The big news today going on the internet.
Games, I think.
Yeah, the Persona games too. Microsoft wins its FTC fight to buy Activision Blizzard. So now Microsoft has WoW, and there's a game I really want to get into. Sea of Thieves. That seems like a really fun. That seems kind of MMO-ish to me. I'm curious. What do you guys think this does to PlayStation? Because the big rumors from this, now Microsoft has all these big studios, is that supposedly Sony's going to try to make a run, or people are pushing Sony to try to buy out FromSoft to get like Elden Ring and Demon's Souls, or Square Enix.
To be fair, Sony already shot across Microsoft's bow by buying Bungie.
That's true, right? They declared that was the first shot.
Isn't it ironic that Microsoft now owns Crash
really
Bandicoot, and now Sony owns the guys that made Halo. Like that's so hilarious to me.
Yeah.
Everyone's just buying up licenses, so when everything goes fully subscription based, so one company or the other can say that they've got the most titles. That's
I mean, you got Starfield, which is going to be one of the biggest games. I get the big thing. The other conversation I've been having with everybody this year is I can't think of another year where there was so many good games in one year. Like, I don't know. I think 2017 when Breath of the Wild came out, and I think Cuphead was out that year.
Persona 5, Horizon.
Was PUBG?
A lot of times it's like
I think that was PUBG too.
A lot of the times it's like the year after a console release. Because usually, like, the console comes out and there's whatever the launch titles, which, you know, there's usually one for the console in there that's really great. And then, like, the following years when all the other, like, you know, devs and everyone else kind of catch up and drop a lot of bombs. But yeah, this year it's been a lot of great games for not having any consoles released, you know, recently.
Right.
And what's interesting too is like we're getting releases and like storied franchises, right? Like we got a new Street Fighter, new Diablo, new Mortal Kombat, new Final Fantasy. Like it's kind of funny that they're all coming out. Like new Zelda, new Mario.
Capcom's been
new Mario. The new Mario.
Pretty wild.
Capcom's one of my favorite studios. I was really hoping for a new Mega Man. I'd actually love a new Mega Man Legends. If we talk about like the Mega game,
they haven't done that collection. They did freaking Battle Network before Legends. Like what?
Hey, that doesn't make any people really love Battle Network's a JRPG. Right?
Oh sure, yeah.
That's one that I've never tried. That everyone's like, you would love it because I'm a big Mega Man fan. As I grab this just to prove.
Oh, nice.
For our listeners, he's holding a Mega Man Blaster. Is that what it's called?
The Buster.
It's the arm. It's the Buster. The Buster cannon. Yeah. Thank you. Sean, hey, your pink slips in the mail.
I quit.
No. I think we were talking in Discord too. Like, it's not necessarily great for game studios. Some people think it is good. I'm kind of indifferent on the whole thing. I think that Sony, it was a business deal, and like you said, Sony shot their shot to take Bungie, and then if it becomes a battle of pocketbooks, like, is it a monopoly? There's still three stores, right? In thing. Here's the thing: there is technically a three-pronged monopoly in that there's Nintendo, there's PC, Microsoft, and Sony, right? Those are your choices, and if one's gonna start bringing out their pocketbook and buying stuff up. You got to compete or do something
You're
else.
forgetting the Amazon, whatever. I forget what theirs is called.
Luna.
The Luna.
I can't believe that's still
Stadia,
going.
I'm surprised they don't push it on Twitch more. If they got a Game Pass style library and actually could just get it, or if they partnered with someone to have that, I think Luna could take off. If you got to Twitch, what is it? The first Twitch phase affiliate, right?
Yes.
Oh, what is it? Amazon or Twitch Prime or whatever? Yeah.
If you're Twitch Prime and then you stream on Twitch and say you get the 50 and then like the first requirement to be like an affiliate, right? Where you can run ads and get paid. Yeah. They should give them all like, hey, you have free access to all our Luna games. You just have to buy this, right? And then you're streaming their product. Hire me, Amazon. No, that's, I think there's a spot for that. And I think I'd like to just see more diversity on games because Starfield's going to be on Game Pass, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know Eric's been counting down the days.
Sell a lot of Game Pass subscriptions.
I've been counting down the days each time it gets pushed back.
Right.
I'm still not convinced it's not going to be a holiday release.
I wasn't hyped for it really. I was kind of like neutral, like apprehensive until I saw their Starfield Direct. A couple weeks ago, and then as soon as the Adoring Fan ran out from like Oblivion and then just seeing how deep the character creator and a bunch of other stuff was, and the shipbuilding and how people are having fun making, like, I think they're making Transformers and stuff like that. I was like, okay,
it's called Robotech. First off, hold on,
it's a Veritech fighter, right?
Yeah.
You can tell that the devs are having fun with it, because I feel like that's a big worry a lot of time, like, versus something like Redfall, where the devs basically came out and said we were forced to make this game. It wasn't what we wanted, and
so yes, you're forced to make every game because it's your job. I hate that. It's like we made that game.
It's silly, but you know what I mean. Like with this, it feels like with Steam Starfield was like, okay, you can tell that they've had fun. They've been given like the time they needed.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it sucks as gamers that when they do have to push that kind of stuff off. But ultimately, would you rather have like an early broken buggy game, which it's Bethesda, so who knows what it's going to be like anyway?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Or would you rather them delay it a year or whatever and give them that time? Usually the problem is they run into that fiscal or like that money brick wall where they're like, you know, Daddy Microsoft's gonna be like, we're not gonna keep paying for you to keep working on this game. You need to put out, you know, something this way. And that, you know, that can either bite you in the butt or work out.
Well,
I don't think it. Go ahead, Eric.
As far as Starfall goes, for me, that's been the big hurdle that I've been waiting. That's been the big hurdle to Elder Scrolls 6. Yep. Is we got to finish Starfall. We got to get this done. We got to get this out of the way. I'm waiting for Elder Scrolls 6.
That'll be another 10 years.
Cut
to Eric as a skeleton. Like that's,
that's still... 2026, 2027. What do we think on that?
2030.
But I think
2027 is generous. I feel like as crazy as that.
That's the only thing they've shown is like a tease of like the title or whatever. Really, you know.
I don't even know if they've been really been working on it in earnest. I'm sure the whole studio is just trying to finish.
But then they're going to move everybody from Starfield onto it, and they might know. They're like, we got this. I don't know. Sean, you called your shot with No Man's Sky, and you said it wasn't going to be great. Do you feel that way with Starfield coming out?
Starfield? I feel like it's easy to say Star Citizen or any of the other Star games, you know? But
No Man's Space.
Don't get the same vibe because with No Man's Sky, it was a small, basically like indie developer that Sony propped up. They're like, look at this awesome game they're making. I think they made a lot of promises to people early on. And they were a small dev team, and they'd never made a game like that. They did like is it Joe Danger games? Or that's the game
Beautiful
that they
Joe?
It was Joe Danger. Beautiful Joe was Capcom.
Capcom is Capcom. I think. Okay,
but they hadn't really done anything like that, and they were really leaning heavily into procedural generation, which I believe there's some in Starfield as well, but that was one of my big hangups, and they hadn't shown a lot of it. And when it came out that like the game was going to be like 7 gigs on a disc, I was like, I feel like procedural generation, you need a lot of assets to pull from, otherwise you'll get stale. And anyways, there's a bunch of things that were like red flags to me going into No Man's Sky. Starfield, you know, I was apprehensive before because they hadn't really shown a ton before like the direct of like gameplay and like features of the game. They'd shown a lot of pretty like spectacle. And things were like, ooh, look at this planet. And like, it looked pretty, but I was like, okay, but what's the gameplay going to be like? And then when, you know, the direct came out and they just basically like showed all the different mechanics and as well as like story and stuff. And, you know, and plus it's a developer that's been making RPGs for so long. And I think one thing that is kind of a bummer, but also good is that Starfield is going to be a single player game. I wish it was co-op, like 2-player or 4-player or something like that. Like, I don't want it to be multiplayer because the nice thing is it's not going to be like a game.
A 4-player Skyrim type game. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Like, even 2 would be really cool. But anyways, like, the nice thing about it is they haven't really, it's not really going to be like a game. It's not like a service game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be one where, so the nice thing where like maybe they have 95% of the people at Bethesda working on this game, they can, because it's not going to be like a game as a service where they're just churning out tons of like new content, new DLC and like stuff all the time for like, you know, to get microtransactions and like get money out of people. I mean, they're going to find ways to get money out of people, like whether that's, I think they're bringing back like the creator mods and that kind of stuff where people get a cut of like modding officially and all that. I think that's coming back. But anyways, because it's not a game as a service, they can afford to lose, you know, half their staff over to the Elder Scrolls, like 6 dev team, that kind of stuff. So that is good potentially.
It's good. I'm waiting anxiously because I think I want Microsoft to make more. I want Bethesda to make more RPGs, to make great games. And as we move to the end of our night, you know, like my daughter poked in here too. I want to do our final segment, and that is random questions. And random questions, for those who don't know, some people call them shower thoughts. You might have heard that. I think of it as just like, I work with kids, so I am used to them hold on, what am I doing? I'm pulling up the rules here. Here we go. Of course. the random question for us today. It's just questions either my students, kids, or we've been asked in Discord. Like we had a whole fight about is Fortnite a mobile game years ago and things of that nature. And the first random question I wanted to ask you guys, today's date is 7-Eleven, free Slurpee Day. What's the best Slurpee flavor?
Was that today?
It's
you
today.
Still got time.
You got time. We can get you out here. They're open up 24 hours.
Even if you're East Coast, you still got another hour.
Yeah.
Okay. Are any of you just like a Coca-Cola weirdo, where you just get the Coca-Cola Slurpee, Sean?
Oh yeah.
Why do you frame it like that?
First of all, the question itself is flawed because it's not a flavor; it's a combination. And I think a good combination is 2 to 3 flavors. And I'm going to go with cherry, blue raspberry, and pina colada as the flavor combination of my choice.
That's a good answer because that's kind of what I do. I do the cherry Coke, so I'll do Coke, a little cherry in the middle, and then Coke, so like it kind of mixes it all together. Yeah, that's what I like.
So, yeah, I like kind of like what Eric did with is the cherry, and then the blue
raspberry,
blue raspberry, and then I think more cherry or vanilla or something else, like some other kind of like
whatever
cream,
the random
cream soda
flavor is.
There was one,
yeah.
When I was up in Canada, they had cream soda as one of them, and it was like really good combo.
Yeah. No, I think it's can be you get a random monthly flavor a lot of the times, you know, and my I think for me, I'm a purist. I like just a red cup or give me a blue cup. I'm lame, but if I can see, like, I'll get the flavor of the month too. I want to taste it for what it is, but I always remember I have some like my students asked me if I was going to take my kids to get free Slurpees, and I said no because there was a thing when Eric and I were kids. I spilled red Slurpee on my arm, and the dye was on my arm like for a day, and I had washed. I'm like, that's really weird. Wow. And Eric's mom goes, "Think about that. What's inside your body?" And I was like, "Ugh, what is inside my body?"
Once it goes in my mouth, I don't think about it anymore. That's my rule.
That's a good life philosophy. Clip that. No, okay, my next question. It kind of goes, what's a game you regret buying? What's a bad game that you're like you were really excited for and you're like,
No Man's Sky. No, I didn't buy No Man's Sky. I got gifted it.
The one that immediately comes to mind. So there are times in game releases where like games come out very close together and you have to sort of make a choice. And I don't know when this was. I want to say it was 2015. There were 2 JRPGs coming out kind of back to back. It was Star Ocean, Integrity and Faithlessness. What a terrible name. And then it was Tokyo Mirage Sessions on Wii U. And
that's like a weird Fire Emblem game, right?
It's like Fire Emblem meets Persona. At least that was the pitch, or SMT, I should say. And so I chose poorly and chose Star Ocean for some reason. And that game is just, oh man, that game's bad. It's really bad. So that's. I mean, I have a whole video on that, but that's the one that immediately comes to my mind is Star Ocean 5.
Star Ocean 5. I think, what was the Star Ocean on PlayStation 2?
Second Story. That's the one that's in the remake. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one where I don't want to give the big twist away, but there's a giant twist at the end, and it's very meta. And
oh, that's 3. I think you're thinking of 3 if we're on the same wavelength.
Yes, it's the guy with the blonde hair, and he's kind of like the bigger. Yeah.
Well, 3 maybe both have twists, but 3 is like the giga twist of all twists.
Yes, Star Ocean 3, like one of the good ones. But I couldn't get into it for some reason, and I was like, "Oh, this is a good game." I didn't regret getting that. I got it as a gift, but I think Eric and I might have the same one most recently, and that's Shelby's fault, and that's Divinity: Original Sin 2.
See, I like that game.
Did you play it on PC?
I did. See,
that's probably why you liked it. On
console,
Switch,
right?
It was not pretty.
Yeah,
it was.
I bet.
It was
a lot of menus and stuff that are so fun to move around with the joystick.
Eric, is that your pick? Is that what you're gonna say?
Well, my regret.
No.
I could go one of 2 directions here, but since I'm not going to be you, Casey, Final Fantasy 15 was a colossal disappointment for me.
Oh.
It was a huge disappointment.
I know you were really excited about that game, and then they promised a bunch of DLC with that game, and then never gave it out. I think that's the sad part of it.
Yeah.
What was the one that I gave you? What's the bad one for me? Hold on, I got you.
Well, the bad Final Fantasy Explorers was pretty rough.
Oh, on the 3DS.
Yeah.
Oh, that had so much potential.
That had so much potential. That was rough.
Yeah.
That was rough.
We beat it though.
No, you know what? I forgot all about it. It's a shame he's not here. Divinity Original Sin.
That's what I just said. Yeah, that's what I just he checked out. Great, show me. Yeah. He recommended it to both of us, and we're like, all right. And it was just not fun for me or you. Okay, my other one. This is a good one. My son asked me this today, just in the car. If you could own a fast food chain, what is your franchise that you're gonna own?
Oof, that's a great question.
I thought really hard about this one. I'm Jersey Mike's. I will never say no to a good sandwich. I felt like I was like, all right, I can have a cold cut sandwich. I can have a hot sandwich. Maybe it's just half a sandwich every day. I can eat a sandwich for lunch every day and be content.
So we're kind of talking chain restaurants then.
Yeah, Jersey Mike's a chain, right? We're talking. It has to be like In-N-Out would be great, but like In-N-Out's only in what 3 states?
Can I do a pizza chain then?
And sure. I know what he's gonna say.
Abby's Legendary Pizza, absolutely. If you don't know, you don't know. But if
there's
you know,
3 of them. What a chain! It's like a really
I've never heard of.
There's like a dozen spread out through Central Oregon.
Yeah, they're all by like motels and where people are doing crime. I'll tell you that much. But their pepperoni pizza does look pretty
Eric, good. Is it the bread? What sells it on them?
It's the experience. It's
like
the whole experience.
Up here, they used to have Alfie's Pizza.
They still do.
It was like a local-ish chain. But then their cheese was the best part. I always thought.
I went to school with the owner of Alfie. He's a friend of mine, right? I worked at Alfie's.
But
yes, I know you worked there.
Real answer though, it's Chipotle. That's the only answer.
Ooh,
that's what I was gonna say.
So I was like, unless you're Chipotle and Jersey Mike's, that was my big two. Yeah.
Because I'm kind of skewed because of being
a vegan.
Wow. I can't. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd go for McDonald's purely for profit.
Yeah, business choice. I think that's the move, right?
Choice, yeah.
A Japanese McDonald's where it's super well run, or like a Japanese 7-Eleven. Oh, that actually would have been the better answer.
A Japanese Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack in the Box.
Or Japanese KFC where they do the double fried. Yes.
I want to know how the Japanese Jack in the Box does tacos. Does the American
the monster tacos?
Oh, those tacos are just like heart attack between a shell, man. They're so good though. They're so good.
Yeah. Obviously, they're bad for you, but that's why they're delicious. Fast food.
If I had to pick one, you mentioned In-N-Out. That's a good one. I was gonna pick some other places.
They treat their employees well. They do but it's only in 3 states, right? Like I want to go if I'm gonna make money anywhere. I guess In-N-Out would be a good one. But go ahead.
My first thought was Panda Express because it's the one like Asian fast food chain that's not. I mean, it's probably still bad for you, but there's so many.
Definitely not good for you.
No,
like deep fried pork, deep fried chicken, deep fried.
Oh, everything's fried, right? There was this chain. I don't think it's around anymore. It was called like Mr. Chow's, I think.
Oh, Mr. Chow's Chinese fast food.
Yeah,
Mr. Chow's.
That's right.
Eric knows the tagline.
A long time.
That's a Bay Area thing.
Oh, it's because they had the commercials on the during the Sharks games.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they were. It was like they were on the radio all the time, but they were just. It was just a grease pit. It was so gross, and I think that caught up with them eventually.
Eric, where's the Wiener Schnitzel call out from Livermore?
Wiener Schnitzel.
No. So the only story I have about that is freshman year of high school, open campus. Wiener Schnitzel was the closest place to the high school. I ate there for basically an entire month. Haven't had the desire to ever go back.
You did the McDonald's. What's the movie? What's the McDonald's movie where he eats McDonald's every day? Super Size Me. You did the version.
Yeah, but it wasn't quite like. I mean, freshman in high school, I was playing football at the time. I needed those empty calories.
Yeah, you're hungry. Okay, those are all good answers, I think. Now the final question. This one was from a coworker of mine. I gotta pull this up. Okay. So you have a magical ability in your hand. You create 5 different liquids. Okay. Each finger is a different liquid. what liquid would you choose? Now, it doesn't pour out. You can control it. Like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I've thought about this. Yeah, that's my first question. I go, follow-up question. Does it just flow out of my hand at any time? He's like, no. I'm like, okay. So you got 5 liquids. It can be 5 liquids. Okay. And they have to be different. I can start.
I think
can
water,
you control
temperature,
or is it always just room temperature?
It's whatever temperature you need, and what temperature. It doesn't hurt you coming out, so you could probably be like cold or warm. Water would definitely be a good one. My other one is just gold. For
security. Gold, liquid gold.
Gold is a liquid. It's a metal, right? So you can get in liquid form. Comes out. It always have money. Those would be my top 2, and then I thought like gasoline for a car.
Ooh, that's a good choice. I wouldn't even have thought of that.
America might lock you up for that and use you as
2035. Sure, okay, yeah, I'll wait.
No, I mean they'll use you as like a source of
Oh yeah, no, that'd be fine. Rails. I'd be a government asset. That's right.
It's $125 a gallon.
Yeah, I should I'd just be a gas station. My other one would be like I think a tea, like something just to level me out. And then
I Monster as one of them.
No, I don't want to die. I've gone. I haven't had an energy drink in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm really trying to quit those. I keep thinking, and like the other one, I was like chocolate. I don't know. Like that's the hard thing. Like, what do you guys think? Oh. Well, Gold's my favorite one, and gasoline. Those are my big.
Those are great.
Yeah. Well, when you told me that list, I was like, well, I've got to have E85 and premium. And I don't want this California. I don't want this California premium bullshit. This 91 octane bullshit.
You need gas and diesel.
Give me the 92. Give me the 93 from the other states. I want the gold. I want the water, and I want lime, fierce lime Gatorade. If you don't, you know, they had it for a short period of time. I could only get it at the 7-Elevens back in the day. Fierce lime. That's it. That's my 5.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast. Done. There we go. That's the last.
Well, you could just choose Taco Bell as your franchise, Casey.
What was that?
You can choose Taco Bell as your franchise.
Taco Bell, that's true. I could be the Taco Bell at that point.
Does ice cream count as a liquid?
Ice cream is in all 3 states of matter.
So I know, right?
Yeah. Actually, I take mine back. I want ice cream on that.
Well, now you gotta wait for the ice cream to freeze because okay, here's goopy ice cream. Now put it in the freezer.
Yeah, no.
Maybe like a milkshake.
Yeah.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. Any flavor? Would it have to be a specific flavor?
No, yeah, it's your rules.
I know it's my rules. Can only have 2.
No chunks. It's got to be full liquid.
Yes.
So you can't have like an Oreo milkshake.
So you could. So Eric, okay, you had 2 types of gas, Gatorade. What are your other 2?
I told you, gold and water.
Oh, gold! Now you guys, everyone's like gold and water. Good idea. Good
idea. It just makes too much sense.
Well, you could have lava, right? Could I do that too? Just make I was thinking about that, but I thought about this.
Lava? I feel like lava would burn you as soon as it comes out.
Hold on. You mentioned temperature. How about pressure? Can I have like super high pressure water?
Ooh.
Like a super soaker finger?
No,
like a CNC machine.
A pressure washer, yeah.
Have you seen those pressure washers that like cut buns in half?
I think you'd have to squeeze your finger really hard, right? And you could like that, sure.
But he could do it. Saying there's a chance.
I want to know if the capability's there.
True.
I think it'd be like pushing out a poo. Like you'd have to use some muscles. You'd be like, like it'd have to be, or like
when you're milking a cow.
Yeah. What about you, Taylor? What are your liquids?
Mine would be very similar to yours. Yeah, I'd probably be. I actually thought of gold. I didn't think of gas. That's a really good answer. Yeah, water, gold, gas. Probably tea. I've been drinking a lot of tea lately. I've been trying to step down from coffee.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to think. Like, I would definitely my indulgent side would say something like Coke, but then I'm like, man, your teeth would just rot real quick having Coke at your fingertip, literally. But lately, like when I go like work out, I've been having these it's called Gatorade Fit. It's like this low, like no sugar, low whatever Gatorade. So I'm like, oh, because it can kind of get expensive if you keep buying them over and over. So it'd be like a sports drink to kind of rehydrate. So probably, yeah, water, Gatorade, gold, gas, tea. Yeah, that sounds good.
Maple syrup. I was supposed to think about that. Yeah, dude, you know how expensive that is? If you think about that too,
you would drive the prices down.
I could. Sean, what was your final list?
Definitely water, because for survival situations, just if you can
Clearly.
control the temperature, you can make tea with it, maybe.
Oh.
But
tea would be hard. Yeah. I would say you'd have. Yeah, go ahead.
What I was thinking of would be cool to like plastic, like liquid plastic, like almost like
a 3D
printer kind of thing. Just kind of like because there's actually that guy who has that. Have you seen those YouTube videos? I think he's a Japanese guy who has like he goes around and like not graffitis, but he'll like go with like a pen, like a plastic pen or whatever, and like draw and do art and like create stuff. Anyways, like around like the city streets.
That's cool.
So that would be cool. Yeah, some kind of fuel would be nice. Maybe I'll go diesel just to like balance you guys out. I'll go to your house if I need gas, and then you can come to mine if you need diesel or something.
Nice. Perfect.
I mean,
diesel truck, right?
Yeah, diesel. You're filling up the big rigs.
Yeah.
Pure profit. See. And then
glass, you could have glass come out of your hand. Glass is technically an amorphous solid, so that's kind of a liquid.
Mm-hmm. So then ice cream. Infinite dessert.
Wait, you're a vegan though. Hold on.
Yeah,
time out.
Do vegan ice cream. There's vegan ice cream.
That's not real.
It's oat base.
Oh, you mean sherbet? I'll give you sherbet. That would be my don't give me that almond milk. You have almond milk come out of one hand.
You can't take away my
no, I can't.
Powers.
I can't. You're right. It's your magical power. My stance on ice cream needs to be put aside. I have to put that bias away. Well, I think we're going to start wrapping things up. Taylor, thank you for joining us tonight. Where can people find more of you?
Yeah, no, thank you again for having me. This was a fun chat. So on YouTube at The Gaming Shelf, I don't really stream, but if I do, it's usually I stream on YouTube. And then every once in a while, I don't tweet as much anymore, which is probably a good thing. But if you feel like following me on Twitter, it's at Taylor's Shelf. There's 2 S's in there. But yeah, that's usually where I'm most active.
Nice. Well, and you can find more of us in our socials, or if you're watching us on Twitch or YouTube, wherever you're listening, please leave us a review, give us a like, a sub. It helps us do more of the stuff and let our wives or give us excuses to keep pursuing this passion project. Again, we got some stuff going on this week. We a lot of shorts been up. We just hit 500,000 views on our YouTube channel. So please, for those that are joining or have been supporting us, thank you. And boxes and that's it. Maybe a community game night. As for that, we're out. Play your games.